Hello, everyone, and welcome to our review of the Mexican Grand Prix, one of the best Mexican Grand Prix ever. I'm AGX, and I'm joined by Sorgun. Hello, Sorgun.
Hello everyone. So,
And
yeah, Mexican Grand Prix. Wow, the intro, the Mexican specific intro, it was nice, and the track.
yes,
I mean, the entire weekend was above expectations, I would say,
yes, exactly.
but in general, still not great.
Oh,
It's a one stop. For most people, those footed two stops were caught by trying to do a two stop. One stop is meta single race.
I, I found it interesting. I'm
I
not
mean, there
gonna
are some
lie.
interesting bits for sure, but that's mostly due to few incidents, mainly at the start and then later on, like a few laps later. I'm sure you will have a lot,
Yeah,
lot,
yeah, fair enough.
lot to talk.
It was a high up one for me this year.
Yes, I
Um,
mean, you probably had fun seeing Lewis up there after a
oh,
while.
oh, we'll get onto that.
Uh,
We'll get onto
yes,
that.
okay. Yeah. Sorry for your bigger surprise. I mean,
Oh, it was so
it
close.
was looking so good. Like
It should have
that, even
happened.
the start. Both Ferraris, I feel like that's the thing they shouldn't have done. They should like try to cover each other off. None of them was able to like attack Norris into turn one, and that was the biggest mistake with Ferraris. They were fighting each other instead of well the driver ahead of them. I
Yeah.
think if they would have worked together, I think at least one of the Ferraris could have jumped Norris. Not that they would stay ahead of him because he was in a league of his own in
Yeah,
his
definitely.
in his
Definitely.
weekend, but at least they would have had a chance. But they ended up not doing that, and the entire four wide thing into turn one with Max on the left
I
side
mean,
as well.
do we talk about it now? Because it was the big thing this weekend, right?
Yes. I mean, I guess you want to talk about it more because it was your driver involved.
Yeah, yeah, one of them, yeah. It was. Look, race start. Uh, there was a. Was it four wide?
Yes,
It was a one.
four
Yeah,
wide.
four wide into turn one. Lando Norris, the two Ferraris, and Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen locks up, goes way off the track. Lewis Hamilton, who started P3, uh, stays on the track alongside Lando Norris. Um, and Leclerc goes off the track in an interesting way. I would say it's a bit less of like Max's was spectacular, right? His full on lock up and then going across the grass and so on. Whereas
Yeah,
Leclerc just seemed to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm not risking this, and just cut a bit of the corner. Um, but yeah, a big thing was that. Well, look, Max Verstappen gives the position back, right? There's
yes,
questions on whether he should have gave it back to George as well, which George was in P5. He was behind the lockup crew or the four wide crew, um, and he was very much adamant that he should have the position back on Verstappen. But Verstappen at least gave it back to Hamilton, um, but Leclerc didn't. And then later on in the Grand Prix, Max goes and dives bombs Hamilton, uses his car to brake, and then cuts across the track. Well, arguably was pushed off, right? You could argue
yes,
Hamilton pushed him off um, the track. Uh,
yeah,
and then and then Hamilton cuts at the next corner, which is a big cut. Um, and then Hamilton gets a penalty, and no one else has got a penalty from all this, which has been my entire Twitter feed for the last week has been about this. I can't lie.
yeah. It was a one weird scenario. Like there are so many things happening, and only just one of them was actually like investigated properly,
Yeah,
which was the Lewis thing. I get why he got a penalty because that was simply ridiculous. Uh, he just locked up and decided, yeah, I'm not gonna like drive here to the left. I just drove straight off to
see, I thought
the escape road, and
I,
he rejoined like 5 seconds ahead of everyone.
He did so. There is footage. He did slow down, but then because Max is fighting Bearman, he manages to create a gap again. Um, and arguably, he should let Max through. But also, arguably, Max should have let him through at that corner. So I just don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what to. You know what? You are the there's no one in this group of cars that you support. So, I mean, you like Leclerc, but I wouldn't say you
No, no,
support
no.
him.
I'm super non-biased in every single situation, as you know.
Yeah. Sure, sure.
I just like racing. I like cars, hard racing. Sometimes a little contact, wheel to wheel. I love that. That's my Formula One. But sometimes the rules are very well specified. The FIA has done really bad things to its reputation over the years. Well, pretty much ever since well 20 even 2019 was like one of the years where it really started getting bad. The turning point was 2021 when everyone was just super hateful on FIA, both sides of that fight at that point. But still, to this day, it's still FIA just not really clarifying the rules well. I mean, ahead of the apex, pushing drivers off, like all of that is so inconsistent. Like sometimes you get a penalty, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can drive off track, cut the corner, nothing happens, and someone else cuts the corner and suddenly get a penalty. It's really just very, very inconsistent, and I would love the rules to be like clarified, specific, black on white. No, no inconsistencies like these. Like if they're gonna penalize the driver, they should penalize both, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that either of them were like super at fault with it. Like they were. There's Lewis and Max. Like they have history. They're gonna race each other very hard, give each other maybe even less than enough space because that's just how those two race. Uh, and yeah, like if you're gonna like set a penalty for a driver cutting the corner, I have no idea why did Charles not get a penalty for the third one.
Yeah.
Like, how was that a penalty? He had the space there on the inside of Hamilton. He could have like tried to dive bomb it into turn two, but instead he just went straight on. Like he actually got the lead ahead of Norris
Yeah,
for a little bit.
Yeah, and then he gave it back to Norris. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get it back to Norris. Like it wasn't even like showed that well on the feed. Like I was like, why is Leclerc in first? And so it was chaos. And then he just let Norris through, and suddenly it was Max letting Lewis through. It didn't make sense. And obviously George, while those staying on track, he just suddenly left the turn and then three cars that came ahead of him. It was crazy. Yeah. Very badly managed by the FIA, but that's kind of the standard right now. Until they do something with their rules and with their interpretation of the rules and their implementation as well, it's going to be like this. There are going to be unhappy people with the penalties and with the decisions, and unfortunately, that's just how it is. Like we have personnel DFI being an absolute incompetent moron right now. It seems like he has the only power, like on whoever is the president after him as well, which is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Unless something changes drastically, it's going to be like this for a long time.
Yeah, I liked Alonso being like, well, if people can do that, I'm just gonna take the mick.
Yeah.
And people already
Alonso,
say he's just gonna cut the whole of turn one at Brazil.
Yeah, Alonso is great at calling out the FIA. He just has no filter, and I love that about him because like he's been in Formula One for so long. He has the most experience of anyone, and knows where the flaws are, and he's not afraid to call them out anytime he can. Sometimes I wish they would actually listen to him, because like Alonso is one of the like most prime examples of drivers racing hard but fair. Right?
Yeah.
Like he gives the driver space, but he also is so great at the racecraft that makes it look very easy. And I wish we could have the standard for every single driver. Obviously, no one's gonna be able to match Alonso in a racecraft. Well, match yes, but most drivers no. Uh, but still, like that being the standard should be the case. And when you're having drivers winning titles while pushing the drivers of other drivers off track, it's setting a bad
exactly.
precedence. So
Exactly.
that's those are my thoughts on that thing. I mean,
My thoughts
George
were
was
my
George,
goat's
George
been done
was
dirty. That's my
yeah,
thoughts.
George was he had the right to be pissed at the entire thing. Obviously, he felt like he was done dirty, George, at
Yeah,
turn
yeah,
one,
and he
and
definitely
obviously
was.
that carried with him the entire race. He was obviously not in the greatest mood, as we
Well, it
saw on
wasn't
the
even
radio.
just turn one. The Hamilton and Verstappen fight also mucked him up and got him behind Kimi and Behrman. So
Yeah, mentioning the fight up to like to turn four, right? At the
yeah,
second DRS zone, when Hamilton went off, actually Max went off as well a little bit. He went wide because he was expecting Lewis to be there.
yeah,
Lewis just wasn't there, and Max just didn't make the corner properly. He missed the apex and obviously went wide and invited George Russell on the outside. But since Max is never going to get overtaken on the outside, as he said himself, he just pushed George wide as well, which invited Behrman to the inside, and obviously Antonelli overtook George thanks to that as well. It was a whole like very messy thing, but again, that's on the FI for allowing this. I have all the respect for Max. He's the best driver in F1, but this shouldn't be the standard, right, for racing.
he isn't the best racer in F1, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. He's the best driver in F1, but as soon as you put him next to someone, he there tends to be a bit more pushing and so on, pushing and shoving, shall we say?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I guess we can move over to the predictions back.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Went
I mean,
through this.
there'll be more. There'll be more on this in the future. So, but yeah, biggest
Yes.
surprise neither of us got. I've got cheated out of that. God damn you,
Yep.
Max
Head
Verstappen.
chart top five. The racing was looking alright, but suddenly they got no points in the race. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not exactly sure what happened. Uh, did it have some kind of issue or I don't know what happened to our racing rules cars honestly this weekend. They were looking quick like for other practices and so on.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
they were, but well, we had another car that was the quickest of the midfield that takes us on to our overperformer, which has to go
yeah,
to one man, right?
yep. Ollie Behrman.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah, definitely.
What what a drive. Wow. Like that he didn't I'm sure he was like afraid to battle it especially with Max at the front, but
Yeah,
like respect to him, mad respect for him to trying to overtake Max in the Haas in that situation. Like he had to have the balls to it. Like full respect to Ollie. He was actually like very quick throughout the entire race. Like he was looking like the Haas had the pace of the Ferraris and Red Bulls and the Mercedes, right? Like they were all in the same fight for some reason.
yeah.
Uh,
I d-
yeah, very impressive for Ollie. Not quite a podium that
no, no.
was on the cards if maybe he would have had did it again, but it was
Well,
very difficult for him to like manage those tires till the end. Like he's no Max Verstappen, right?
yeah, yeah.
He's gonna struggle as a
And he
rookie.
still,
Uh,
he still was
Max,
ahead of Oscar and George and Lewis and so on. What I want to say is, look, there's been a lot of impressive drives this season, and I think this rates as one of the highest because, whilst you've had impressive drives from Hajar, and obviously very British bias here. Whilst you've had impressive drives from like Hajar and you know. I hesitate to
Hulkenberg.
Well, I wanted to say Hulkenberg, but the next bit is
I'm
bad, right? Um, and they are incredibly impressive. They've not actually, in terms, had to race the people, the top five, whereas Ollie had, or the top uh, four teams. They've not had to really do that before when they got their podiums. Whereas Ollie had to race all these drivers to the entire Grand Prix, right? He was having to hold back Piastri for ages. And George, when George was like fully on him. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a very impressive drive from old Ollie, or young Ollie, I should say. Um, that
Yes.
grabbed my attention because we've talked about it before, right? We've talked about the fact that he has. Bear in mind how impressive he was when he came in last season in all the races he came into. He hasn't as impressed this season, but this was one I really, and recently he's been beating Ocon a lot more and so on, and he's actually now seems fully used to the car. So much so that this was a huge result.
Yes. Very huge for the team as they, I believe, jump Sauber for PA in the constructors.
Yes.
Yeah, good for Haas. They were very quick this weekend. Definitely the well, I don't want to jump to the perfect team, but I feel like
Well,
we have
can I give another overperformer?
yes, I believe there's also one driver who deserves it definitely.
Lando Norris.
Yes.
Great weekend. Literally spent all this. We literally said last week these final five races you're gonna figure out who's the champion based on their performances. That was a champion drive from Norris. That was and we haven't seen it in ages, right?
Yes.
We haven't seen it in ages from him. That was a look at me, look what I'm doing. And I will say, Max and Piastri also had, after difficult qualifying sessions, they both had good races. Oscar went up 3 places, Max went up 2 places, very very good. But Lando absolutely abolished this Grand Prix. I think in the hybrid era, only 7 times the drivers finished 30 seconds ahead of everyone else. That was a stat I saw on social media. It might not be right.
It's the first time this season,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
The biggest
And it's the
winning.
first time Lando Norris has ever done it. So, yeah, huge drive from him. Especially because it is a good track for like Max. It's a great track for Max. So, and qualifying P1 sounds great, but this is one of the tracks you don't really want to qualify P1 for because it's so long down to that first straight. So yeah, it was a great drive. Never got involved in any drama and just absolutely blitzed it.
Yep. Was from the get-go the quicker driver in the McLaren. Oscar kept struggling throughout the weekend. I know he even didn't have a practice session over Norris as well.
Yes, yeah, he did.
I believe Lando missed practice once, so that he had also an additional practice session. Thanks to like War being in the other car. I think it was him.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah, Lando completely dominant weekend. That one that we haven't seen really this year. When you think about it, like a lot of his wins came off like battles and sometimes luck and good strategies. But this one he got pole very convincingly as well.
Yeah. 4/10, right?
Good start. Yeah, good start, which is not that common for Norris. Let's be real. He kept the lead after turn 1, thanks to Charles letting him through after that. He just never looked back. He was the quickest driver this weekend and just completely in his own league in terms of pure pace. As he dominated, and that's something that really like. This moment is really the turning point in the championship. He now overtook Piastri also by a point, I believe, or maybe 3. I don't know.
There was also, which is shocking for Lando, because he tends to do this in every Grand Prix. No mistakes. Even the Grand Prix he's leading, he usually ends up going off in a corner or something. No mistakes. The camera barely ever cut to him.
Yep, that's the thing you want. You want to be in front and not in the cameras. Maybe sometimes once in a while to show that you're still there leading, but when you're not making any mistakes and just there in front, you're not gonna be much show like you're gonna be shown much on the broadcast, and that's exactly what he wanted and what he needed for this championship fight.
Yeah, definitely.
The momentum is fully on his side. Even Max is now like 36 points behind, which is like definitely still a threat. But now Lando showed that he can still do it, and definitely this drive really changed the perspective that Norris really deserves this championship if he gets it after this comeback.
I gave up. So
yeah, like I was one of the most critical people of Lando, and you know that. I've been really shitting on him throughout this last 2 years for not performing when he is giving the car, and what he's doing now is very good. He's beating Piastri, and he's doing what he needs to do to win this championship. Yeah, the year wasn't perfect. The start of the year was very bad. As we've seen in our ratings and so on. He was making mistakes, even DNFing and so on. But now he's just really just turned the tire around and maximizing his weekends pretty much. Even when he's getting out qualified by Piastri, like in Singapore, he actually raced him and overtook him, albeit against the fire rules or whatever that is at this point. So this makes the statement. I believe if Max is closing in and Piastri keeps this bad form, I believe they're going to use Piastri to give Lando the championship if Max is a threat coming to Abu Dhabi, which I believe will be the case. I don't think this was the trend to continue. I believe this was a one-off. Red Bull just didn't manage to get the setup right. I believe the Red Bull is still on par with McLaren. Max definitely should be in the fight for all the remaining races. Like it's Verstappen, never count him out.
I mean, even here, like arguably, he should have finished second.
Second. I mean, Charles was second, right?
Yeah, no, I don't. The whole virtual safety car shenanigans at the end.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't really feel like he would have overtaken Charles at all, but
fair enough.
That's just me glazing Charles, I guess. Like we saw those two battle a lot throughout the years, and I feel like Charles is like one of those racers that Max really respects, and Charles knows how to race Max. I believe they would battle it out, and I feel like Charles would have come out on top just because he was ahead, and the car usually finishes ahead when it's this era of very bad racing. Yeah, but because we never know. The whole VSC thing was very strange. Like Sainz was parked like in the. He didn't even have to be a VSC, and he was called like after a whole lap of double yellows in that third sector. Yeah. Very strange. Like again, FIA just a very badly managed race, and yeah, one of the things that we haven't even managed to mention. The worst mismanagement of the entire race from the FIA side, the Lawson incident. I'm sure you saw it. Twitter, right? The footage with those marshals on track.
Yes, definitely. Holy shit!
That was a second of a disaster. Like Lawson coming into that corner so quickly, he wasn't expecting any marshals on track. Like who would, right? It was so badly managed. Like those people were at risk of life, and that those things shouldn't happen at all.
Yeah,
like definitely. How did they forget Lawson? They still.
At the end of the race, I was sort of sitting. You know, I know a lot of people getting angry. I knew the commentary were getting angry. I knew people reacting got angry at the fact that the virtual safety cars flag stayed out, right? But I was a bit like, you know, it for whatever reason, right? I'm sure they're doing this for safety, and that's something that I think should always be the precedent beyond anything. is safety with the FIA. So I think seeing that was obviously very. It was an awful thing to see. You don't know. I'm not going to firmly put on the FIA that it's their fault. I don't know how the stewarding works for Formula One. I don't know if there's like a call through to clean the tracks and when to clean it and so on and so forth. Those marshals could have made their own decisions, which I don't want to, also say they did. Who knows what happened?
Yeah, unless we have actual info from what
Yeah,
happened. We have nothing to base our opinions on,
yes,
right?
exactly. But it should always be safety, right? Safety first.
Yes,
That
yes,
should be always the thing.
and that incident looked the opposite of safely. Like
Yes.
it was safe. It wasn't good. It was very like nerve-wracking to look at. Honestly, like I really don't want to see a person die during a
No.
race on a race. We've seen these incidents in the past with people on track while the front cars are around. I don't think this should be the case at any moment. Like you're having Lawson and exiting the pit lane. Like how does it even happen that the marshals are on track? Like something had to happen in order for them to be there because there are debris. Obviously, they had to clean, but someone had to give them an order, and I don't believe they could have like decided to jump on track on their own. Just I don't think that's something they're permitted to do, right?
Yeah.
And whoever gave them the order to go on track, or whoever gave someone the order to order them to go on track, should definitely be like held accountable for the entire incident because we were so close to having something very unneeded and unnecessary and very dangerous. And luckily, no one was harmed. But yeah, they should really make sure that it doesn't happen. Like you remember Suzuka? Like it was very rainy and we had a safety car.
Yeah, of
In fact,
course.
it was very wet, and there was like a tractor on track, and gasoline missed it by like a meter. I don't know if you remember that, but I
Yeah.
was very great at that point as well.
Yeah.
It was like these things should be avoided at all costs. Like safety first, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. That is the top priority.
Okay, overperforming Norris, and so we can move over to the underperformer.
I don't know. That's my big thing here. Who you could argue Piastri, right? But he has been underperforming for a few races now.
Piastri. I guess you could still argue for that because he's in the lead of the he was in
Yeah,
the lead of the
yeah.
championship. And
So that's an
like
argument, right? You could argue
like
Hamilton because obviously he finished eighth, but
uh,
it depends how
like
you.
he was still a qualified P3, which is
Yeah,
like
which he
well,
hasn't done much this
qualifying this
season.
year.
You could even argue Russell because he finished behind Antonelli.
For the first time this year as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
uh, yeah, like
Because I look at the rest of the
there's
grid and I'm like, who else? Who else am I gonna like? I don't want to Max. I don't want to give it to because I think he did have a good race, but then actually Piastri overtook more people in the race. Um, so yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it?
yeah, it is. I think
None of the
about it.
DNFs were down to themselves,
Even
right? I don't think.
yeah, yeah, Alonso DNF for some kind of a technical problem. I don't even know what, but it's Alonso. Like he
Yeah, yeah, of
DNF
course.
from like 30% of his races in Formula One. I don't even question it anymore. But even he was looking slower than Stroll for some reason throughout the race. I don't know if
But
that
you
was
don't
due
know
to the
if
technical
that's
issue.
exactly.
I saw the data. Like Stroll was faster in race pace, like almost a tenth of a second, which is very strange to see. But I don't feel like that was like we don't have proof that it was him driving and all this issue. So cannot say Alonso. Hulkenberg, obviously a car issue as well. He had a bad start, but like all of that would have been in a turn one. You can kind of excuse it, and yeah, the car issue maybe even hinder his race pace. You never know. Just like with Alonso, uh, he had qualified Bortoleto, so that shouldn't be the case. We had the Alpines in the back, right?
Yeah, but
Not
that's
doing
we
much.
expect
They
that.
were miles behind everyone as well.
But I would put that for tragic team. I don't think either driver's to blame for that.
Yeah, like they were pretty much next to each other, and
Yeah.
that's the standard we have for them currently. Yeah, I guess you can. If there's one driver that I have to pick, I would probably pick Piastri because
I'm gonna I'm
he
gonna
just lots
I'm
of
gonna say
championship lead,
Russell.
right?
I think obviously we can have two, and neither matters because we
Yeah,
have neither. But I'm gonna have to
yes,
say Russell because you know he was an angry boy. I don't want to give it Russell. I think he got screwed a lot of the time, but to be behind Antonelli, to have such anger during the whole race it was a great race for driver rants, wasn't it? Holy moly! You obviously had Hamilton getting annoyed. You had George absolutely blitzing on radio every 5 laps. It was incredible, George Russell meltdown. And you also had, was it Albon also having a breakdown at Williams?
yeah. All the drivers very unhappy with the race, and rightfully so for some of them. Uh, yeah, we had a lot of just general team radio or general driver radios. They're very present during this weekend instead of driver girlfriends, which I really like to change. They've really listened to the fans and given us more giving us more of what we wanted to see. Uh, yeah, I guess we can agree that there's no driver that's like a
Yeah,
straight up
this was
making furnace.
not a big weekend for underperformance.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Perfect team.
It has
A
to go to
Haas,
Haas.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's an argument for Ferrari. They're very quick in qualifying. Race, I mean, still finished like P2, right? With
Mm.
all the cars. But has that's a lot of points for a midfield team. Very good pace that we haven't seen from the Haas in a long time. Like they're on the fringe of points most of the times, but never like this quick, like
Yeah,
this in the fight with top teams as well. Like Behrman had the pace to finish on the podium if it wasn't for the second stop, right?
yeah, yeah.
So it definitely goes to Haas. Tragic team,
Alpine.
Alpine.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were so bad that it's not even bad for Alpine level. Like they're absolutely nowhere behind everyone.
yeah,
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 that has to be Alpine. I mean, Red Bull, they were good, right? Yuki was very close to Max. They were super good. Max wasn't winning the race, but
I mean, if
both
Max had
drivers
stayed in
were
P5, I
supposed
would argue it, right? But he did. He also they pulled off a very good
to.
strategy with Max.
Yeah,
Um,
very
they
much.
to do that they screwed Yuki, but that's okay. They're a one
Yeah,
driver team.
that's so unfortunate because Yuki was looking very good. Like
Yeah,
he was during Max on the strategy, but then you just see a Yuki 12 point something pit stop. I just had him outside of the points, and it must have been so demotivating because he was looking like very quick
yeah.
compared to Max in the
You
weekend. Like,
know,
he was 2 to 3 tenths back, and that's something that Red Bull always wanted from the second driver to not have a driver beat Max, but be like within the 2 to 3 tenths margin. And that's what Yuki has done this weekend with the new front wing.
yeah.
So
Did a
hopefully it continues for his sake.
good job holding off Piastri as well. That early part of
Yes,
the race.
but Yuki did a lot of good things throughout the race. Very unfortunately, he didn't end up with the points. Any points? He definitely deserves some. Uh, but yeah, unfortunate for him. But hopefully he continues. He hopefully doesn't get too sad about it, and he has to focus on the positives, right? Like he was close to Max in qualifying and in race pace. He has to manage to keep that up, like for his career, right? It's 4 races to go, and he has to stay close to Max to even be considered for an F1 next year.
I think
So
they
yeah,
I looked at I got a bunch of Twitter stuff this weekend about sort of Yuki and that stuff, and like in terms of pace wise, this season, you look at his early, and it was obviously Hadjar's early start to the season, but Sonoda was quicker than him, and you saw today, in fact, Paris came out and was like, Red Bull is no other driver can be in that Red Bull because they set it up for Max. So I just don't think it matters, and I think putting Hadjar in there early is going to ruin his career. So, what do you do? Do you keep Yuki? Because I don't think there's really any point in not.
I think I'm on the same note. I feel like putting Yuki for next year would be the best idea in the situation because Yuki already knows the team, knows how they work. He's closer to Max in the recent weekends. He's been throughout most of the season. He just needs to keep it up the form, at least be in the points every single weekend, to be like within half a second of Max. And I feel like that's should be enough for next year. Like it's a brand new car next year, brand new opportunity. If he manages to gel well with the car, maybe even fight Max at points, yeah, it should be very good for him. But putting Hajar there, even he doesn't really want that seat because of what happened to the four drivers before him, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like being Hajar right now, I feel like I would kind of not perform at my best, like just because of that in my head, I would not feel comfortable thinking that I could lose my job in a year and a half times because I simply was put in the wrong place at the wrong time. But you never know. Like Hajar could come to the Red Bull and do well. Right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can never rule that out completely. Just on paper, looking objectively on things, I feel like Yuki should stay if he keeps up this form that he's had in a recent like 3 or 4 races, I believe, excluding Singapore. That was a bad weekend. So yeah. So tragic team, not Red Bull, not Sauber. They scored the point with Bortoleto. Somehow, I don't know how, but Bortoleto somehow got to the points. He overtook HR for P10. How did he end up in the points? I believe he was out in Q1, right? That was a weird comeback drive that really went under the radar.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know where Hulkenberg would finish if he was to stay in that race. Yeah, I'll never know. But good job, Bortoleto. Saved your team for the tragic team, definitely. Alpine was the pick. Okay, qualifying. I'm not really sure about the results, so I guess I'll have to
I've got it,
dig
don't
in.
worry. In P5 was Max Verstappen.
Okay, no points.
P4 was Antonelli. George Russell, sorry. Oops.
Yes, no points.
P3 Lewis Hamilton.
No points.
B2 Charles Leclerc.
No points.
B1 Lando Norris.
So we get no points for qualifying. We get no points for so far this weekend at all.
And we're going to continue that, I believe, as we go into the race results, where P5 was Oscar Piastri, where you do gain a point.
Yay! A point for P5 Piastri somehow. Actually, I don't know.
Well
This was such a lucky point.
P4 was Ollie Behrman.
Yay, Ollie.
P3 Max Verstappen, P2 Charles Leclerc, and P1 Lando Norris. So no more points.
Yeah, actual prediction as well. Alonso, no. All 3 championship leaders collision. We had Piastri, I believe. No, it wasn't a collision, right? It was a close racing with George, but it wasn't like a collision.
Yeah, I don't think any.
You could argue from Max that it could be counted as a collision, but Lando wasn't in collision. He was just there, so it can't be counted. Also, I get a singular point from this weekend. That's the only point from either of us. Wow. 57 to 46 now after Mexico with 4 rounds and 2 sprints to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's over.
Oh, you can still bounce back, right?
I'm
I've
channeling
gained like 7 points
my
somehow.
inner Lando Norris. That's what I've got to do.
Mexico Lando Norris definitely. Not sure about Lando Norris as a whole.
Hey, he's come back. What? He was 30 points behind or 29 points. He's come back from that.
30. It was above 30. It's like 34.
Exactly. So I've just got to do the same
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you gotta hope for a DNF Miami for my own side, but I ended up having my worst weekend so far, but still ended up outscoring you. It's almost like I'm the Lando in Baku right there, right? But instead I'm in the lead by quite a bit. I was lucky to be fair with a lot of the picks, but I still think you can bounce back. I have a good chance to
I've
to
just got to get
over.
a lot of extra bold predictions.
Yes. You could go for like a random Lando on the podium for extra bold. Like it's okay. A bad attempt at humor.
No, no, I liked
Right?
it. I liked it.
Okay. Did we mention everything? Every talking point from the race? Like we obviously mentioned the championship lead going over to Norris now by a point.
Yeah, we mentioned angry ranty boy.
Angry George, the Lawson with Marshall's thing, Max Lewis battle. I believe that's all the important talking points out of. We obviously had also nine drivers in FP1. We haven't covered, but
Yes. Yeah.
it wasn't like something that we were really excited about. Like most of those drivers already were driving an F1 car in the past, and
Yeah.
like the
Exactly.
only notable thing could be Lindblad finishing ahead of Tsunoda in the timesheets, but it's FP1. It doesn't matter. Yuki was quick, so yeah, we didn't really have much to talk about there, and yeah, I don't feel like there's anything else. Like we're next week should lead the Brewers in Grand Prix predictions. Fortunately, alone, but we'll manage, right? You give me your predictions, and I'll try to make it as funny as possible.
Thank you,
Okay.
Dean.
So, any last thoughts, comments, anything?
I am genuinely really excited for the end of this championship, and it's been so long since it's been 2021 since I could say that. We haven't been doing videos since I could
Yeah.
last say that. At this point, I'm pretty sure for most of the seasons, Max had already won the championship. So,
Mhm.
this is exciting. And yeah, I don't actually know who's my favourite anymore.
I know who's my favorite and who isn't, but that's just my bias. I honestly would love to see a battle going down to Abu Dhabi with
Yes,
three drivers fighting for the championship in the last race. But uh, I also want my second favorite driver to win the championship because it's just how sports work, right?
yes, of course, of course.
You're a fan of someone and you want them to do well. Something you can really get over entirely. So yeah, this was the Mexican Grand Prix reaction that we had about expectations. Mexican Grand Prix wasn't all in all. We
It was
had
high
even
for
some.
me. I loved it.
Yeah, it's just the track itself. It just doesn't feel that well. I don't know. I'm just a big hater of the of this track, so I can't really say much positive about it. But I guess it was a good for a Mexican Grand Prix. That's all I'm gonna say. Yes,
Fair
sorry.
enough. Fair enough.
Bumped into my mic. An accident. Anyways, if you that was the last thing that you said, I'm gonna wrap it up. So thank you everyone for watching, listening, anything, commenting, liking. We all appreciate it so much, and we're gonna see you. Well, I'm gonna see you next week for the Brazilian Grand Prix predictions. So stay tuned for that, and peace.
Peace.